Do you want to make a baby? I think
Do you
that's
want to make a baby? And we looked at each other in the eyes, and she was like,
yeah, let's do it. Hello, friends, family, YouTube explorers. Kayla here, and welcome to my channel, Blossoming Woman, where I intend to share all things regarding motherhood from conception to birth beyond, and even a bit of stay/work-at-home mom lifestyle. I'm so stoked to finally be making this video and starting this channel with none other than our conscious conception story. This has been on my heart since the day I gave birth, which it's been a year since then, and I thought, what better time to reflect and begin this whole process of sharing what we've experienced. So without further ado, let's get into it. I would take you back all the way to January 2017. I would say that's when our conscious conception story really started. We were both like in this new phase at the same time in that January. David had just quit with a clinic that he was working with. He's a chiropractor. He started doing his own thing, taking patients by appointment at his home office. I, on the other hand, was fresh out of college, and what seemed unfortunate but really wasn't in the bigger scheme of things, my university completely messed up paperwork and I didn't get my diploma until 10 months after I graduated. A 9 to 5 was never appealing to me, so I started doing some freelance work. I started an online design studio, I did hair apps, and I even babysat for a while. It was all to make ends meet, which I did, and David kind of was on the same flow. We were both just making what we needed. Our only goals at that time were to save up for a surf trip in the middle of the year, and by the end of the year, have our own place together. Another thing that was pretty significant about January 2017 was that David asked my mom for my hand in marriage in that month. Honestly, we were always kind of turned off to the whole marriage deal, but we were heavily sensing that a baby was coming. We felt that in order to have the most positive and welcoming experience for this new life, if this is what we are intending and desiring from our hearts, might as well make the process easier for all our friends and family to, understand and accept. Let's just do it. So in that August of 2017, we took our surf trip that we saved up for to Cihuatanejo, Mexico. We spent 10 days in Saladita, then we took a day trip to Playa Azul and up to Nexpa. And it was everything. We had a great time, and that's where he proposed to me. And at the time, we were still kind of hesitant about having a wedding, so we had decided against it. But on my end, I was like, if anything were to happen to you, I would regret not celebrating our love and just having all our friends and family together in this one space. I thought it would be just too awesome and too fun to miss out on. So we decided to just go for it and have a wedding party. That was in September that we decided that. So the next day I told my mom that we were going to have a wedding party and we decided to go looking for dresses. We went to David's Bridal and I already had a dress online picked out that I really liked. The exact dress was in their store on that day. It was like confirmation. Anyway, so October came, October 5th to be exact. And I don't know, we just had moments. We were in the middle of things, and David just asked me if I wanted to conceive. I'll have him tell the story. This is David, everyone.
I made this happen.
Okay, so can you tell me the story of that exact moment you asked me to conceive with you?
It was an October night. We were coming out of our favorite place to hang out, and when we got in the car, you were in the mood, and we started doing
It
it.
was all my fault.
It was all her fault. And we had talked about conceiving and having a baby and all that. Um, and I've always thought that the moment would be or have to be special or in some way significant. And then it started raining while we were in the middle of it. And I thought, I just felt that as a sign, and it was really beautiful, and it was very spiritual, really something that is as spiritual as can be. And then I just told her,
Do you want to make a baby?
"Do you want to make a baby?" And we looked at each other in the eyes, and she was like,
Yeah, let's do it. Everything in me when he asked was just turned on. I felt like I just awoke and yes, now's the time. Now's the time. Let's do it.
So we went for it. And I think it was a lot of things in combination. I think it was mainly intention, but also
Yeah,
the fact that she was obviously ovulating,
yeah,
and that I think the moon has something to do with it because it was a full moon that specific night,
yeah.
and what topped it off was the rain that just trapped us in the car.
Oops.
So I was like, okay, God, okay, I'll do it. And that was it.
Yeah, it was
The rest is history.
one and only shot, and it was the one. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, baby?
Yeah, I would like to add that because I felt that confidence in that moment, and because I felt like that was meant to be, and because I decided to go for it, from there on, I knew that the whole pregnancy and the birth and everything was just going to be perfect and there was no problems. That's where all my confidence in having a free birth came from, and knowing that everything was going to be all right because at that moment it just felt perfect.
Thank you for sharing that, baby.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, the deed was done, and 5 weeks later, I took a pregnancy test, and it came out positive. It's beautiful knowing the exact moment that we conceived our first child. It was truly a blessing. Now, I must mention that this time period we were living in was extremely emotionally draining. Our environment was toxic. We had a few stressful relationships, and we weren't like saving for a baby or anything. And so from the exterior, it didn't really look like we are ready for a baby, but in that moment, I think that decision to conceive was like a big leap of faith. This new life was coming. We were craving this change in our lifestyle, and we had no doubt that things were going to line up with that. And by grace, everything literally aligned to be perfect. Sure enough, in that December, that we started working with a new clinic, and I also got my dream job working with VIP Kid, teaching ESL online to Chinese students like I originally planned. That January, we started renting our perfect little home, which was pure luck that we found that. In March, we had our wedding party, and that was so dreamy and beautiful and perfect for us. We wrote our own vows, and it was a full moon too. And my dress that came in a size 0 arrived fitting like a glove, and it had the perfect amount of material in the belly area for my tummy. Like, I didn't have to make any sort of special alterations because of my belly. It was even more confirmation for everything that we were doing. The week after our wedding, we took a trip to Playa del Carmen. Being super pregnant, vacationing on a beach during spring break was so fun. And thanks to my mom, we had a super successful baby shower. I was ultimately, at the end of all this, extremely humbled that everything lined up perfectly as we expected. And, from that moment of our conscious conception, we knew it. We knew that everything had to just work out. I 100% believe that, everything lining up had everything to do with, taking that leap of faith in that conscious moment, full of intention and love and purpose, despite all of the trouble that we had been experiencing that whole entire year. It was ultimately that trust in the universe and its power to just conform everything to your deepest desires. Like that's I feel like that's where all the magic truly lies. However, I can't forget to recognize the fact that when something is working out perfectly, there's always something to balance it out. There's always phases of growth and learning. And for me, it was my pregnancy journey, deciding where I would give birth to who I would have around. It was a pretty wild ride going from birth center to midwife up to free birthing my son without any medical personnel around, which was totally not part of, my awareness at the time of conception. I had no idea that I was going to end up free birthing. And beyond that, this first year of motherhood, geez, it's been so intense. I can't wait to share all that I learned in that process in the next video, especially with the resources that have really helped me. That is it for our conception story. I thank you so much for tuning in and watching to this point. Make sure to click the subscribe button below to get notified when I post my pregnancy journey video. I would absolutely love if you could share your conception story, whatever it entails, down in the comments below. Despite any sort of fertility experience that you may be having right now, I just want you to know that the true desires of your heart will always come to pass. Embrace the process and trust that everything is always in perfect timing. So until next time, goodbye.